Hello there, this is Mr. Dunaway, and welcome to our next video on updating our Patrick Mahomes spreadsheet. If you are to this point, you should have something similar to what you see on my screen right now. You should have completed all of the postseason stats, all of the season stats, and through part 7 video, you should have done some formatting in rows 1, 2, and 3, and you're trying to make it look something like a spreadsheet that's something that you might see on the internet, which is kind of what we're going for. So we have this really interesting situation that we did this. These are all the stats for last year. So now we're going to take what we've done, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to take that and then copy it and use it for what is currently happening with the Kansas City Chiefs this year. So the first thing that we need to do is obviously have this open. Go down here where it says Sheet 1. Sheet 1. Now I don't remember if I told you to rename that or not, but if we did, we're going to actually rename it again. So I just did a double click, double left click, and we're going to call this 2019-20, meaning that these stats are the stats from Patrick Mahomes from 2019 to 2020. So we're going to create a copy of this, and we're going to create a new spreadsheet for 2020-21. And it's really easy to do. You just have to be really careful a couple things you click. Okay, so follow along with me. If you go up to the upper left corner, in between the A and the 1, there's a little gray area. You have to get gray arrow. You have to get your mouse right on that, and you should click it, and the entire spreadsheet should turn gray. And then if you do a right click and do copy, and you'll see the ants that'll start running around. That means you've copied everything on that spreadsheet. All right, the next thing you want to do is go down here to where it says New Sheet, click plus, and you're going to get a pop-up of a blank sheet. You haven't lost your information. It's still there on 2019-2020, but we're now in Sheet 1. We're going to go right in here to cell A1, put your mouse right in the middle, do a right click, and click Paste, and then just click anywhere in the spreadsheet. And you've just copied everything that you have there. Now you might notice some funny things could happen to your images. Sometimes the sizing can get a little weird, so I'm just going to make that smaller, and it kind of looks like the picture distorted. So I think I need to just, on my image, I need to just pull the bottom up to make that look a little more normal, and I'm just going to place that in there somewhere. Now there's some interesting white space area, and I sometimes overthink this stuff a little bit, but I'm going to just kind of try to make it look like it all fits together there. But that's really not a big issue for us at this point. Just try to get it to look halfway decent, something that you're happy with. We're going to rename this sheet, Sheet 1. Again, a double click, 2020-21, 2020-21. And we are going to change everything here to this year's stats. Now, what we want to make sure we do not do is we do not want to delete anything that's a formula. Okay, so basically all of row J and K, row J and K, where the spreadsheet did all the calculating for us, we don't want to delete any of that. In fact, we really don't need to delete anything in column A because they're still going to have 16 games, and we might as well leave 17, 18, 19 just in case they go to the playoffs. And we don't want to change anything down here because that's all formulas that'll be calculated for us. So the only thing we really need to do is we need to delete basically B7. Now this is assuming that your columns all match mine through I-25. And again, that is assuming everything in yours is spaced like mine. All right, so, and we're just going to do a right click over that area, and we are going to do clear contents. And everything there should disappear. Now make sure that you still have all, it should say that hashtag divide by 0 and then an exclamation point. It's an error because it's trying to divide something that doesn't exist, and that's not possible. That's okay. We're just going to leave that alone because it's going to do the math for us. We also need to clear the contents out of L, and I'm going to highlight those, leave the TD of course, and then do a right click over that, clear contents. So essentially we're almost ready to begin. The only difference is that we have all of these logos here that we really don't need anymore. However, we might be copying them, but I'll show you a trick. Let's just delete them, and then you can copy them from your other sheet if you want them later. And a really easy way to delete them, now because they're images, they weren't selected when I did that. They're kind of a separate piece. I'm going to press the Control button, and I'm going to just go down, and I'm holding down Control, and I'm clicking multiple images. And then I'm going to just do a right click, cut, and they're gone. And for some reason I missed the Detroit Lions one. He must have been overlapping. And I'm going to scroll down and do the same thing. Control, and I hold down Control. When you're holding down Control, you see that little plus sign by the cursor. That means you're selecting multiple images. I'm going to delete all of them. I'm going to do a right click, cut. Okay, so now let's leave this stuff up here. You'll notice that my record switched to 0, 0 because remember we put that count if statement, and it's counting 0 wins and losses right now. Whoops, I just made a mistake there. Don't do that. Enter. And you have this stuff up here doesn't change other than this one right in here. So I'm going to click in. We merged this cell here in OP. I did at least, and we called it 2019 stats. We want to just change that to 2020. That we will have to physically change and click off of that. So now essentially these things up here, these should read from the data as I input them. So now all we need to do is input some data. All right, so the first team that the Chiefs played this year, they played on September 10th. And that opponent was Houston. Let me pause here for a second. I had to pause my video there. You probably heard me say, let me pause this for a second because I was not able to type anything in here. And I realized one thing that happened was that on my other slide, if you're having trouble typing, click over here to 2019. If you still have the ants running around, just double click into a cell there until you see the cursor, and then click back to 2020, 21. I was not anticipating that to be an issue for me. So here we go into opponent, and the first opponent that they played was Houston, and it's also got the formatting from the other fonts that we had in here earlier. We can change that later as you want to. The logo we will get later. Let's just get all of our data in here for the time being for us. So they actually won that game, and the score was 34-20. He completed 24 passes, and he attempted 32 passes. And you see what happened in my completion percentage? It filled it in for us. That's the thing we love about the spreadsheets. And then there's, he had 211 yards passing. That was an average of 8.8 yards per pass. And the number of touchdowns in that game was 3. So I'm going to pause my video here. I'm going to put in all the data, and as soon as you see it, then you can start inputting it for yourself. So if you hold tight for a second. And just like that, we have video magic here happening. So here is all of the information other than the logos, because I want to show you something with that. You'll need to input. And so one thing I want to tell you before I have you put all this in, as far as the logos go, you're welcome to go chop new ones the way we did using screenshots. The other thing you can do is realize they already played all of these teams, and we have them on our other tab. Also, I don't know if you noticed, I changed my font here, and I did that so that you could read it because you're going to have to type all this in. But they played Houston in 2019, and we have that logo right here where it says Houston. So if you want to go there, you certainly can. You can just go there and copy it, and I just clicked on the tab there to get here, and then at the bottom I click back, and then you just go in here and you just do right click paste, and it should fit in there just fine. We might have to check our formatting here, and just to make sure that we have that there and it's locked into place, and it should stretch just fine if we need to do that later. So you can do that if you want to, or you can go fill in your own logos using screen captures as you want to. So I'm going to stop this video at this point, but you need to type all of this information in here into your new spreadsheet. And I do want you also to notice, like you'll see up here, now we have his new completion percentage, his TD's sum, all the formulas down at the bottom should be filling in as we input the data there, as well as the columns J and K. And again, that's the wonderful thing about spreadsheets. Once it's programmed, all you have to do is input the data. So your assignment for today is to go ahead and get this stuff all inputted, get your new logos, and if you want to fancy up your fonts there, you can certainly do that as well. So good luck, and let me know if you have any questions, and have a nice day.